This is Saudi Arabia in the year 1932, a barren desert with no proper infrastructure or cars for transportation. It is mostly made up of nomadic Bedouin Arabs. Their land was harsh, their climate difficult, their people scattered across an endless desert, and this was a person ruling these people, King Abdulaziz bin Al Saud. Who on earth would have thought that in just a decade, this guy would go from leading some nomadic tribes in the desert to securing deals with the President of the United States? And that was mainly thanks to this blessing of Allah, the black gold, oil. Do you know why Saudi Arabia, a country covered in sandy desert, imports sand and camel from Australia? Well, don't worry, you'll find it out. Mumlikatul Arabiya Saudiya, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is a desert kingdom that covers over 2 million square kilometers, making it the 13th largest country in the world. Yet much of its landscape remains uninhabited and is dominated by the Rub al Khali, the world's largest continuous sand desert. The temperature here can be scorching in summers and can exceed 50 degrees Celsius, yet still people live here. Take a look at this chart. The population of Saudi Arabia in 1932 was just 2.9 million people, and now in 2024 it has climbed to over 37 million people. Here we ask ourselves this question: what has allowed for this exponential population growth, as there is no water here, no river, and even no proper agricultural land to grow food on? Well, my friends, the simple answer is
oil. Millions and millions of tons have already been pumped out, but it's been estimated that half the world's known reserves of crude oil still lie beneath this barren, featureless desert.
The discovery of oil in Saudi Arabia in the 1930s marked the beginning of the kingdom's emergence as a key player in the global energy market. It transformed the nation into a regional superpower and eventually helped Saudi Arabia in multiplying its population. A great example of this is the city of Dammam near the Persian Gulf. This city was only settled by humans in 1923, and it was a location of the first oil discovery site back in 1938 at Dammam Oil Well number 7, which goes to prove why today it is the heart of the Saudi oil business, and grew from being completely uninhabited in 1923 to a big metropolis of 2.2 million today, just a century later. This increase in population could have only been possible through the constant supply of water to its people. And where is all the water coming from, you may ask? Well, because there's close to no rain in Saudi Arabia, there isn't too much water available either. That's why the Saudi Aramco installed desalination plants near the Persian Gulf, which removes salt and impurities from seawater to produce fresh drinking water and supply to big cities like Riyadh, Dammam. While near the western coastline on the Red Sea, 12 desalination plants have also been installed to supply fresh water to cities like Makkah, Medina and Jeddah. We must say it's a remarkable achievement, but this is also heavily dependent on the oil industry. Eventually, more and more oil fields were discovered after Dammam 7, such as the Safaniya, the largest offshore field ever discovered in the world, and the Ghawar field, which is the largest onshore field ever, and the largest single source of human energy that man has ever discovered. It alone produces 4 million barrels of oil every day. All that oil has allowed the country to become second largest producer of oil, and with a relatively low population, is by far the biggest exporter of oil in the world. Here you may ask yourself this question: why use Saudi oil? Why not American, Canadian or Russian oil? What makes the Saudi oil so special? Well, this, my friends, has to do with economics. You see, it costs around $4 a barrel to pump out Saudi oil, compared to $40 a barrel to pump out American oil. The $4 a barrel is the cost and the $80 is the selling price, which means $76 is the profit or the oil rent. When you're making this much profit, then it's no surprise that oil adds up to 40% of the GDP, 70% of your export, and around 75% of the total government revenue. Therefore, the enormous revenue the state was earning from oil enabled the government to become a welfare state for all of its citizens. Infrastructure, electricity, subsidies, housing, the kingdom provided all of them. Hence, the Saudi citizens didn't see any reason to work in private sector, which was tough and low paid, and thus most worked in government sector. But this caused a huge problem: labor shortage. Labor that was needed to build massive infrastructure projects in the country. Therefore, to solve this shortage, the government gave free visas to millions of Muslim workers from countries like Egypt, Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, who mostly work in construction sites or as taxi drivers and other services. Oil is not the only source of income for the Saudi government. As for centuries, the only important source of revenue for this part of the world was the control over the holy cities of Makkah and Medina. You see, every year, millions of Muslims flock to the two holy cities to perform Hajj and Umrah. And today, this generates around $18 to $20 billion annually for the Saudi government, making it their second biggest source of income. Now let's find out why Saudi Arabia imports sand from Australia. Saudi Arabia imports sand, but why? You see, sand is needed for construction, from concrete to bricks to glass. But the thing is that a specific type of sand is needed. Desert sand doesn't work because of its smooth edges, and beach sand doesn't work because it has too much salt. Therefore, the only option that we're left with is the river sand, which is coarser and is perfect for construction. But too bad for Saudi Arabia, as it doesn't have any permanent river. And it doesn't just end here. Check this out. The kingdom also imports camel from Australia. Yup. You see, Australia's got millions of camels roaming in the outback, which they can sell to the Saudis and other Gulf countries. Cause I mean, come on, you know what camel means for the Arabs. Beyond economics, Saudi Arabia's oil wealth has given it substantial geopolitical leverage. As a key player in the OPEC, that is the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, Saudi Arabia plays a pivotal role in shaping global oil prices and influencing energy policies worldwide. One great example of this geopolitical power could be seen in 1973, when during the Yom Kippur War between Egypt, Syria and Israel, the then Saudi King Faisal withdrew Saudi oil from world markets in protest over American and Western support for Israel during the conflict. This caused the price of oil to quadruple from $3 a barrel in 1973 to $12 a barrel in 1974. This move is considered by many economists as the world's first oil shock. It sent America into recession and had long-lasting effect on global politics and economy. The power of Arabian oil had been well felt and pushed the world into a standstill. The rapid flow of cash that would enter the kingdom after the newly established oil prices created an economic boom for Saudi Arabia. The king also used this wealth to send aid to Syria, Egypt and Palestine. The message was loud and clear. King Faisal is a pro-Palestine and pro-Muslim king who will not hesitate to use his oil power to give a reality check to the US and other countries if they continue funding the killings of innocent Muslims.
ولو أجمع العرب جميعا على أن يرضوا بوجود إسرائيل وبتقسيم فلسطين فلن ندخل معهم في هذا الاتفاق.
Due to this oil embargo, the then US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger threatened King Faisal. If Saudi Arabia doesn't lift the boycott, America will come and bomb the oil fields. King Faisal, being a Sigma, replied back, "You are the ones who can't live without oil. You know we come from the desert, and our ancestors lived on dates and milk, and we can easily go back and live like that again." Oil is a finite resource, and the Saudi kingdom knows that at some point in time, they'll run out of it. Plus, the global trend of shifting away from oil to other sources of energy has forced the Saudis to think out of the box. Hence why the Saudi government has implemented an ambitious Vision 2030.
أوروبا الجديدة هي الشرق الأوسط.
Vision 2030 aims to diversify Saudi economy by reducing its reliance on oil and fostering growth in sectors like tourism, renewable energy, and sports. At the heart of Vision 2030 plan is the sovereign wealth fund called the PIF, Public Investment Fund. Its aim is to invest money in new ways to generate wealth and influence for the kingdom. So far, it has invested billions in companies all around the world, whether it be SoftBank in Japan or many multi-billion-dollar companies in the US. This is a way to build influence in other countries and also generate a crucial source of income for the kingdom. The PIF has been actively investing in sports sectors too. This includes building state-of-the-art sports facilities for hosting major sporting events like Formula E racing, high-profile boxing matches, and how can we forget football? In 2023, the PIF took majority ownership of the 4 big Saudi football clubs and spent hundreds of millions to buy the best players on the globe, whether it be Ronaldo for Al Nassr, Neymar for Al Hilal, or Karim Benzema for Al Ittihad. The PIF also bought the English club Newcastle in 2022. But here we must ask ourselves this question: why are they spending so much in sports? Well, you see, by making Saudi Arabia a sporting paradise, the kingdom is keeping the population on their side, especially the youth, and is also attracting international visitors. At last, what do you think? Will Saudi Arabia be successful in implementing its historic Vision 2030? And if not, then what are the other ways it can transform its economy? Please let us know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, you'd surely like this video as well. Why most of the USA is empty. That is it for now. Thank you for watching and see you later.